here is the question. If I have 3 poles, A, B, and C, the outermost pole is C, and one of the options of having an ROC is I will shade this part, okay, which is Z greater than C. Okay, this means it is a right-sided sequence. I have 3 poles and I'm shading. How about left-sided sequence? If I know that this is a left-sided signal, left-sided sequence, how should I shade? Furkan?
Z less than C.
Z less than C. Arkadaşlar,
Less than A.
ROC cannot include a pole.
So less than A.
So let me tell you the, thank you very much, Ahmet. Here's the rule, Ahmet Faruk. Here is the rule. ROC does not include or cannot include any holes. So as you say, if I shade the inside of this, inside of Z, if I do this, then there will be A and B inside my ROC, and it is not possible, okay? ROC means where will my Fourier transform or Z transform will converge to a value. Anlıyor muyuz burayı? It should converge to a value in the ROC. If I say that it doesn't converge here and here are the infinite, you know, like the denominators at A and B, the denominator becomes 0, right? So the whole thing goes to infinity. That's why I cannot say this. If it is a left-sided sequence, I cannot say that. So for a left-sided sequence, here is my ROC curve. Do you understand the difference, arkadaşlar? If it is a right-sided sequence, it is the outer part of C is going to be shaded. For the left-sided sequence, inside of A circle with a radius of A will be shaded. How about if I have two-sided sequence, two-sided? Is it possible to have a two-sided sequence?
Yes, it's possible.
How do I write the ROC? A, Z, B, right?
Yes.
Where should I put my circles? Now it's going to be a disk.
Disk, yeah.
So either I have I will shade inside of a circle or outside of a circle or shade between two circles. It's gonna be a kind of disk. Anlıyor muyuz arkadaşlar burayı? So is there any other option? Yes, there are.
B and C.
It is between B and C, right?
Yeah.
Again, my ROC cannot include any poles. So arkadaşlar, if I'm given these 3 poles and if I ask you how many different ROCs can be found, you will say there are 4 different options. If I had only 2 poles, let's say one here, I would say, how many different options would I have, arkadaşlar? Either this one, or this one, or something in between, right? There are 3 different options: right-sided, left-sided, and both two-sided. What do I mean by right-sided sequence? either this way or right-sided sequence, right? From 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. What do I mean by left-sided sequence? 0, -1, -2, and so on. Okay? Or I may have this, and that. Again, 0, 1, 2, -1, -2, and so on. Okay? So, left-sided, right-sided, both-sided. What do I mean by both-sided or two-sided? I will have this one. Anlıyor muyuz arkadaşlar? One-sided to the positive side, to positive infinity. Left-sided to negative infinity. Both-sided, both ways. So this one will have a right-sided about the pole B and left-sided about pole Z, pole C. Anladık değil mi gençler? Burası rahat değil mi? Peki. Şimdi do you see this function here? Do you see this x of z here? Why did I shade this part? Why did I shade this part? Not inside, not in between. Why did I shade this part arkadaşlar? How did I find this 1/2 and 1/4?
The root of denominator.
Roots here, right? This is my pole 1 and this is my pole 2. And I will put them here, pole 1 and pole 2. How do I determine shading the outside? I check here. Either it is given like that, or it can be said it's a causal system or causal sequence. Okay? Or stable system or something like that. Either it is given like this, or I should say causal or stable. So I should indicate something about the ROC. Otherwise, I cannot find out the exact sequence if the Z transform is given. Is that part clear arkadaşlar? So if I tell you, I did some partial fraction expansion and I found -1 and 2 as my coefficients. How do I go from here to there? Gençler, how do I do that?
Inverse Z transform.
Inverse Z transform, right? This one -1 goes here, bakın. Because it's a right-sided ROC, that means both parts, both this part and this part should be right-sided. Neden? Because their intersection should be out of 1/2 pole. Okay? So this thing should be right-sided, that thing should be right-sided, so that their intersection will be like this. And the ROC will be greater than 1/2. If this is given, that means this is right-sided, this is right-sided. How about if I give you this arkadaşlar? And if I shade this area, what would be the x of n? Nurican, can you tell me, my friend?
For the 1/2, it will be left-sided.
For 1/2, it will be left-sided.
So
Very nice.
it will be -n -1. The same equation, but it will be -n -1, like.
-n -1. Okay.
And for 1/4, it will be the same.
It will be the same. Very nice. So when you look at this, if the thing between 1/4 and 1/2 is shaded, then I should say this is left-sided, this is right-sided. Anlaşıldı mı arkadaşlar? So easy. don't go beyond that. Okay, it's that easy thing.
Hocam, please, can you go back to the
Sure.
previous one? Is there a minus in front of the two, the first term?
This one?
Yes, is there a minus there?
Yes, there should be. If it is if this is the case. Değil mi Anya? So if this is the case, if I'm shading the disk, then there should be a minus also here. Because we said that minus a to the power n minus n minus 1 is equal to 1 over 1 minus a z to the power minus 1, right? For z less than a. So when you see this thing in the properties table, efendim, any questions?
No question.
So if you see this in the properties table, what will you see? Oh, this should be left-sided. This should be left-sided. So what should I do? Is it similar to what I'm seeing here? Yes, I should have a 2 in front of my sequence. Here, this is positive, so I should make it negative because this is positive, but there is like a kind of negative positive situation. Then I'm going to take this a here as my 1 over 2 and put to the power n and u minus n minus 1. Is that part clear arkadaşlar? Yes? Let me move to the next one. Now I want you to tell me, write to the chat, what is x of n? I'm giving you the ROC. And I want you to give me the Z transform. It's easy, inverse Z transform. Please write to the chat, my friends. Resume recording. So what would be the case if I shade this area? İkbal? Shall I change the Dirac n part?
I guess no.
No. So, is this part, will this part change?
No, it's still same.
It's still
But-
same, it's still right-sided. So
Yeah.
minus 9, 1 over 2 to the power n un. And how
Yeah,
about this
this
part?
Minus 8, 1 to the power of n, and u minus n.
Minus 1, right?
Minus n minus
So-
1.
If I don't write 1 to the power n, it's not a problem, right arkadaşlar? Because 1 to the power n is also 1 always. So that's why I don't write it. Anlaşıldı diye ümit ediyorum arkadaşlar. Going from x of z back to poles and zeros and so on. Now, so you know these poles and zeros, you know these definitions, right? Now, if I tell you if this is a causal system, how should my ROC be like? Here are my poles. What does this kind of a pole mean? Arkadaşlar, what does this pole mean? It is not on the real axis. What does this mean?
Imaginary numbers.
What's that? It's a
Imaginary.
it's a complex number, right? It is now, it has a real part and an imaginary part. Here, if I say z equals 2 as my pole, let's say, or 1 over 2, this is a real pole, right? Real pole. This is a real pole. This is a real pole. But these are complex poles. Complex poles. How do I get complex poles?
There is a term which is e to the power j, like in the poles.
Exactly. There should be, in the poles, there should be something related to the e to the power j something, right? So this dr should be a complex number. How can I get a complex number? For example, 1 over 2 e to the power j pi over 4. Let's say my dr is d1 is this. Is this a complex number?
Yes. hocam.
Yes. How do you represent it on the z plane? Your magnitude will be 1 over 2 and your angle will be pi over 4, which is 45 degrees. If you find your poles, poles means this thing, the denominator should be equal to 0. If you find such z values, such poles, such roots of these polynomials, then the poles will be complex. Okay, complex poles. So I don't have to always have real poles. I can also have complex poles. Anlıyor muyuz gençler burayı?
And also imaginary poles.
Exactly. If I have this as a pole, it is also possible. No real parts, but only imaginary parts. For example, if I find the pole as j, p is equal to j, or d1 is equal to j, then this is my pole, and it is on the imaginary axis. As I said, this is, let's say, d1 is equal to 1 over 2. This is something that is legible, that is valid. I can also do it like d1 or d2 is also j or 2j or something like that. Imaginary, pure imaginary we call it. This is pure real, and this is complex. So these are also possible. I want you to know this. Şimdi let's come back and say causal systems. What is critical about causal systems? ROC should extend outward from the outer pole. Which one is outer pole? This one. I couldn't draw it well, but it is something like that. So if this is a causal system, and if I know that ROC cannot include poles, I should shade this area arkadaşlar. So is this part clear? If I have such a pole characteristic, what should I check? I should check the outermost pole. Then shade the right side of that outermost pole. Burası anlaşıldı mı arkadaşlar? Is that part clear? Zübeyir, is this part clear, my friend?
Yes, hocam.
Yes. Okay, let me continue.
Hocam,
Yes.
is there any relationship with unit circle? Okay.
Now, if this ROC includes the unit circle, then my system becomes stable. If my outermost pole is greater than 1, which means then let me do this. If unit circle is here, okay, let's say, then what should I do? What does it mean?
Stability.
It is not stable, right?
Stable, not stable.
So ROC should include the unit circle. If my outer pole, yeah, the outmost pole is less than 1, the magnitude, then the system is stable, right? Arkadaşlar. Am I correct? If my outmost pole is less than 1, then my ROC will include the unit circle. If my outermost pole is greater than 1, which is somewhere here, for example, then I will shade outer part of this thing. Then I may have a stable, I may have an unstable system.
But what if it is left-sided?
If I was going to say that, thank you very much. For example, if I have poles like that, and if I'm shading the inside, and this inside thing includes unit circle, then my system is stable, but not causal. For causality, I should shade the outer part, okay? The shading should include positive infinity. Anladık mı arkadaşlar burayı? So if my ROC includes the unit circle, then my system is stable. But it doesn't mean that it will be a causal system. Now, is this causal? Is this causal, Hüseyin? Is
Yes,
this
hocam.
a causal system?
Yes, hocam, it's right.
Why is it a causal system, my friend?
It's right side, the outside is this.
The outside has been shaded, so that's why it's causal. Is it stable? İkranur, is it a stable system now, where you see this one? Is it a stable system?
No hocam.
Think about this once more. Now I have shaded this part. Okay, I have shaded this part, and my pole is here. My unit circle is this one, this red one. Is this a stable system or not? İkranur, is this a stable system?
Hocam, do we say it's stable if it's the unit circle included in the shading?
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying here, arkadaşlar.
Okay.
ROC means shaded area. Shaded area.
Okay.
This shaded area is my ROC. Does my ROC include the unit circle or not? You're going to check that thing, okay? If it includes the unit circle, then you're going to say my system is stable. Okay? If my shaded area includes or goes to the right side, then I would say it's a causal system. I hope you understood this part, arkadaşlar. This is one of the most critical parts here. So, arkadaşlar, what am I saying here? You can check these from the slides. Now, is this part clear? So I want you to write what you have understood related to the stability and causality of a system. For example, let me ask one question here. I have my poles here, let's say 1/2. I have my pole at 1. Okay? And my shaded area is this one, in between. Is this a causal system? Is this a causal system?
No.
No. Why? Or why not?
Because it's not right-sided.
It's not right-sided. Very nice. How about stability arkadaşlar? Is it a stable system?
No, hocam.
No, again.
No. Why not?
Because line is not straight.
1 is not included because my pole is removing the inclusion of the unit circle. Okay? So in my shaded area, I have to have the whole unit circle as 1. Okay? If I have it like this, like if my pole is here or is here, then my system is not stable. Okay? Why? Bakın şimdi 1 to the power n un. If my h of n is this a stable system? How do you check that? If you add un from minus infinity, from 0 to infinity, will you have a finite value? Is it a finite value?
No.
No, right? It is infinite because I'm adding infinitely many ones. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus many poles, many ones. So it goes to infinity. So my system is not stable for this case. Okay, not stable.
Hocam,
Yes.
can a system be stable and non-causal or the other way? Maybe causal.
Exactly.
and
Yes, it is
non-causal?
possible, Anya. For example, let me give you an example. Here is my. Let me show you one stable system, which is not causal. Is this system stable?
Yes, it's stable.
Why? Because it includes the unit circle, right?
Yeah.
Çok iyi çizemiyorum, birazcık karışık ama anlıyor musunuz arkadaşlar? Is it clear here what I'm plotting? Yes. So this is a stable system because shaded area or ROC, okay, ROC includes unit circle, birim çember, unit circle. Okay. Is this system causal? No, it is not, because it's not right-sided.
Yeah.
Because it has both right-sided and left-sided sequence in it. So that will break the rule of causality, right? So this is a two-sided thing. That's why not causal.
Good. Okay, yeah.
Anlıyoruz değil mi gençler? It's that simple. If you understand this part, it will be okay for you. It will be enough, more than enough for you. Evet. Let me see you all in one. Stop sharing at this point.